Bro, I swear to God, we Rise of Kingdoms creators, we're like, when we run out of content, is this commander still good in 2024? If you've been following our Restart Account series, you may know that I went all in and expertise my Minamoto. And to me, Mina is a very weird commander. For some people, he's the perfect investment, and for some, he's just waste of money. And that's why I decided to put together an in-depth Minamoto guide. We are going to discuss his pros and cons, his role in early game and late game because it's totally different, his best equipment alternative for each budget, and ultimately we're going to answer the question, who should invest on Minamoto in 2024? Without further ado, let's go!
Spartan! What is your profession?
Right, so let's start with the pros and cons of Minamoto. Now, this might surprise some of you, but technically, he is, if you're spending money in the game, of course, he is the cheapest commander to expertise in Rise of Kingdoms. Huh? He costs $200+. How can you say he is the cheapest commander? Actually, the math is pretty simple. The best bundle in the game. By the way, I said if you're spending money, because of course there are a ton of ways that you can get sculptures as a free-to-play, so you can technically expertise legendaries without spending a dime. However, if you are spending money, you are most likely purchasing the bundle that is called Writer of the History. Because that bundle, it should be on your screen right now, is hands down the best bundle in Rise of Kingdoms, and it's a pop-up bundle for a reason, because the value is just so good. And the bundle costs $5, it gives you 10 sculptures. After you summon a commander in Rise of Kingdoms, the total number of sculptures that you need to invest is 690. And since every Writer of History bundle gives you 10 sculptures, this means if you purchase this bundle 69 times, and the number is a little bit weird, but anyways, if you buy this 69 times, you will have enough sculptures to expertise a legendary. And if we multiply 69 with 5, the cost is going to be $345. Minamoto costs around $200, I think $220. And the best bundle, the best value bundle when it comes to getting commander sculptures, it is going to cost you $345 if you just want to max a commander, a legendary commander, by spending money. Yes, I know those are universal sculptures that you can pretty much use on any commander of your choice, but if you're going to invest on Minamoto anyways, he is technically the cheapest when you're spending money, the cheapest commander to expertise in Rise of Kingdoms, which is a little bit funny. His second pro is again related to spending. You can expertise this commander day one. Do you need to expertise a commander day one? I don't think so, unless there is a massive civil war in your kingdom, maybe two jumper projects collide on the same kingdom. In that case, maybe yes, but if that's the scenario, I think you should stay away and don't spend money, maybe find another project. However, you can technically, if you have enough budget to expertise Minamoto, you should be able to get to VIP 9 before KVK 1. Right now I'm at 11 and I'm not even a high spender. I'm like somewhere between low to mid. I was a mid spender at the start, you know, maxing Minamoto and all that, spending some money, but now I'm a low spender. And even as I said, low to mid spender, somewhere in between, I managed to get, I think I will get to VIP 12, to be honest. I do have enough gems. All I need is more than gems event, and I think until KVK 1 we will have it, so we will get VIP 12. And VIP 9 is all you need to get all the sculptures for Minamoto, and I think that is a pretty realistic goal. So he can be expertise from day one, but he doesn't need to be expertise day one, as I said. All you need is before KVK 1. And the reason why you exclusively want him before KVK 1 is his next pro. He is great in early KVKs and also still decent in the late game. When we get into the role section, like his role in early game and late game, we are going to discuss this even further, but just know that he is great in early KVKs, KVK 1 and 2. After KVK 3, you can start using those latest and the greatest commanders like Nevsky, Joan, Ho Chubing, if you are speaking of cavalry commanders purely, but he's still decent in the late game. His museum buff is great, one of the best in my opinion, which makes him decent in the late game. And he does have a really good debuff. Warlord, his fourth skill, whenever this commander's troop launches a basic attack, it has a 10% chance, the chance is not that great, 10%, increase the target's damage received by 30% for 3 seconds, but the cooldown is only 5 seconds, so you are going to apply this debuff for 3 seconds, and cooldown is only 5 seconds, so the downtime is between them is just 2 seconds, and this is increased damage taken. This means from all sources, the damage doesn't have to come from you. It can come from any march, from your team, from your alliance or whatever. So the target is going to take increased damage, 30%. I think that is a really, really good debuff. However, he of course does have some important cons. And number one being, unfortunately, his expertise. This is at best mediocre. It's very underwhelming. The only thing your expertise does, the chance for your secondary damage from your first skill is normally 50%, damage factor 600 for 2 seconds, so in total it's 1.2k. The chance of dealing that extra damage is 50% normally, but when you expertise him, it goes up to 75%. It is only a 25% chance increase, so as I said, this is, in my opinion, quite bad for the number of, I'm not going to say sculptures because in this case, I'm going to say money. Compared to the amount of money that you need to spend, like this is very underwhelming, as I said. And his second con is, he is just a single target damage commander. And if we take a look at, you know, the best commanders in late game, not just for cavalry, but in general, Joan of Arc is amazing, William is still really good. Yes, Nevsky and Ho Chu Bing both are single target damage commanders, but their utility is insane. Like their other skills are really strong compared to what Minamoto offers. And as I said, Zhu Liang, Liu Che, Herman Prime, like they all are AoE damage commanders, and that is quote-unquote the meta in Season of Conquest. High AoE damage and AoE debuffs. And yes, Mina offers both of them. He does offer kinda high damage and debuff, but both are single target, and that is his secondary main con. Now his role in the late game and early game. Minamoto is hands down one of the best commanders that you can have in KVK 1 and KVK 2. But as I said, after KVK 3, I mean with KVK 3, you will be able to use those latest and the greatest commanders, so he definitely falls off. His role in KVK 1 and 2, he's a great field fighter, a great primary commander with Cao Cao. If you invest on, let's say, Saladin, but I don't recommend because you're going to enjoy Saladin for 1 KVK, only KVK 2, and KVK 3 there are much better commanders, and of course a Babers or any other cavalry epic commander. Doesn't matter which one, Belisarius, Pelagius, whatever. So he's a great primary for field fighting in KVK 1 and 2, and he's also, in my opinion, a great rally leader. However, the best use of Minamoto in late game, and this is going to be a little bit heartbreaking, but if you are not using, if you don't plan to use 4 or 5 cavalry marches, if you do, yes, of course, you're going to still be using Minamoto heavily in the field, you definitely need him. But if you only plan to use 1 or 2 cavalry marches, the best thing that he can be is a placeholder. What I mean by that, let's say you invested on Nevsky and now you are slowly investing on Joan of Arc. Until you get your Joan of Arc to a usable spot, you can use Nevsky and Mina can be a placeholder for Joan of Arc. Let's say you do have a 5551 William and a max Minamoto. You can use Minamoto primary and William secondary until you expertise your Ho Chu Bing, so you can pair your Ho Chu Bing with your William. And in this case, Minamoto is going to be the placeholder for Ho Chu Bing. So definitely, he does have a great use in my opinion, because sometimes in Rise of Kingdoms, you just don't have enough sculptures to get 2 commanders at the same time to a usable spot. In those scenarios, you can definitely use your Minamoto as either primary or secondary, while you are still slowly investing and working on the other commander of that main march. And since he doesn't have any specific skills to force him to be a primary or secondary or make him much better or worse with a certain cavalry commander, he's just so versatile. You can basically pair Mina with anyone other than like Attila and Takeda, I guess. His best pairings, I kind of already touched on that, but let's quickly go over them. Early game, Minamoto Cao Cao and Minamoto Babers, KVK 1, KVK 2, my favorite pairings. As I said, I don't recommend you to invest on KVK 2 commanders because you will only be able to enjoy them fully for 1 KVK. Let's say you invested on Saladin or Genghis Khan, even worse. After 1 KVK, you will have access to Nevsky, Joan, Ho Chu Bing, William, all those great commanders, so definitely don't do it. And in the late game, Minamoto with Nevsky, I mean Nevsky primary, Mina secondary is in my opinion really good. Ho Chu Bing with Mina, very high single target damage but not that great survivability. Minamoto William, again not that great survivability, just like Minamoto Ho Chu Bing, but still in my opinion is a really good march if you want to go, let's say, up to 3 cavalry marches. Maybe you want to pair your Nevsky Joan, Minamoto William and Ho Chu Bing with another cavalry commander. In those scenarios, I mean, as I said, he works just really well with pretty much any cav commander. This is, in my opinion, the best PvP talent tree for Minamoto, and the only exception would be if you do have a Horn of Fury, and if somehow it's even better if you got a special talented, maybe you don't go for Feral Nature because you might overrage. Instead, you can just go for more cavalry stats. But if you don't have it, this is, as I said, the best PvP talent tree for Minamoto. And here you can see some equipment alternatives. The first one is obviously for very late game. We have 2 KVK items, KVK weapon and KVK helm. This is basically your ultimate goal, not just for Minamoto, but for any cavalry commander this equipment applies. And the second one is much more realistic. We do have every single epic, of course, with a special talent. If you are using epics in the late game, you 100% want those equipment with special talent. And yes, we are still using a blue ham, but would you look at that, with a special talent, it gives you 8% cavalry defense, especially in Season of Conquest. I will definitely use this one over the epic helm that gives you attack, even if that is special talented. And we have 3 legendary pieces, chest, boots and gloves. The reason why we have chest and boots first, because in my opinion they are the best pieces from the set, and when you get 2 pieces from the set, you start getting extra bonuses. They both give you great amount of health, and the reason why we also have Navarre's control is because it is not a part of the set, but you can get the blueprint pretty much from anywhere, even from, I got mine from the chest. Let me show you real quick this one, this regular equipment chest. And if you get the blueprint and you have the materials, you should definitely craft it. It is a great item. And as I said, we have both epics special talented. And the third one is an extreme budget one. We have 2 green pieces. I already explained them in the previous video. I think they are amazing. And we have epics without a special talent, because realistically you want to have this equipment set before KVK1 and it's purely luck. Right, you won't have enough materials, enough blueprints to get all your epics guaranteed special talented. So if you're lucky, yes, of course you want to use those epics with special talents. If you're unlucky, you're just gonna use them as it is. 3 equipment options, I think all 3 are amazing. Now, the ultimate question. Who should invest on Minamoto in 2024? If you're already way past those KVK1 and KVK2 times, you don't want to invest on Minamoto. Let's compare my situation to yours. You are in Season of Conquest, I'm going to start in KVK1 pretty soon. We both spend the same amount of money, we both have same amount of sculptures, and we both have an expertise Minamoto. For me, he is an amazing commander. For you, he is just decent. Because the true power of a commander is actually determined by when you compare it to other available commanders. Imagine we don't have any legendaries in the game and the only thing we have is Pyrrhus and epics. Then this commander is going to be the best commander in Rise of Kingdoms, because our other alternatives are bad. You are in Season of Conquest, your alternatives are limitless. Talking about cavalry, you have Nevsky better than Mina. You have Joan better than Mina. You have Ho Chubing better than Mina. You have William better than Mina. And soon we are going to have new cavalry commanders, and most likely they're going to be better than Mina. But for me, KVK1, the only commander who is technically better than Mina is going to be YSG. And that's it. Worst case scenario, he is the second best commander in the game for me. And he will get me much more kills, much more flexibility, much more utility compared to what he can provide for you, for a player that is already in Season of Conquest. So even though you do have the money, I would say do not invest on Minamoto if you are already in SOC. I cannot wait to see how many kills that we're going to get with Minamoto in KVK1, and it is very close. As you can see, a new season has arrived. It's going to be our first KVK on this account, and I will try to live stream as much as I can. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.